But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. When you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back.
Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just appear on The View. He stormed in like a man with a mission burning in his chest. The second he took his seat, the entire atmosphere shifted like a thunderstorm had rolled in. The producers thought they were getting a charming Hollywood guest who'd smile and play nice. Instead, they got a bold truth slinger ready to rattle the table, and he wasn't afraid to make people squirm. From the very first frame, Arnold had one mission: slice through the chatter and bring the truth loud and clear. And he did it, sentence by sentence, with zero hesitation. The hosts didn't see it coming, not even close. They expected sweet stories and harmless jokes, but Arnold showed up with facts, fire, and a whole lot of heat. He kicked things off with heartfelt gratitude for the country that changed his life. "I came to America with nothing, and look what I built," he announced with such force that even Whoopi Goldberg went silent. Just as they were settling into what seemed like a feel-good chat, Arnold flipped the whole vibe in a heartbeat. He stared down the panel and dropped a line that froze the entire room. "Immigrants must follow the law and respect the system that gave them a chance," he declared, and jaws hit the floor.
You are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine I came over here with the age of 21, with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that.
He said it boldly, eyes locked straight on Sunny Hostin, and she immediately stiffened, frozen in her chair. You could hear a pin drop in the studio. The audience didn't know if they should clap or just gasp in shock. Arnold wasn't tossing out cute phrases. He was dropping raw, unfiltered truth right in their laps. Joy Behar squirmed in her seat, clearly uncomfortable, and tried to jump in, but Arnold charged ahead like a runaway train. No one was going to twist his words while he was speaking. He made it loud and clear. Being in America is a privilege, not an excuse to break the rules. If you're coming here, you better be ready to follow the law, or don't come at all. The tension was electric. The crowd could feel every beat. Whoopi tried to lighten the mood, but Arnold shut that down fast. He didn't show up to smile and nod. He came to lay it all out. "You don't trash the country that gave you everything," Arnold declared, voice rising just enough to freeze the entire room. "You respect it, protect it, and give back," he thundered. That hit the hosts hard. It was a gut punch they weren't expecting. These weren't the safe daytime takes they were used to, but Arnold wasn't backing down for anyone. Sunny finally pushed back, saying immigrants are doing their best and being unfairly blamed. But Arnold was already ahead of her, eyes sharp and voice firm. "I'm not talking about honest people following the process," he fired back, his tone like steel. "I'm talking about those who sneak in, break the law, and then demand rights," he said without blinking. Some people clapped, others just stared, but everyone knew the power in that moment. Arnold had taken full command, and the hosts had lost control of their own show. Joy tried the usual line. "Studies show immigrants commit fewer crimes." But Arnold didn't flinch. "This isn't about stats, it's about respect for the law," he snapped like a lightning bolt. Whoopi leaned back, arms folded, lips tight, completely stunned. She thought she could rattle a Hollywood star, but Arnold wasn't there to entertain. He was there to speak hard truth.
Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that have created all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
The tension exploded when Arnold brought up the National Guard. Sometimes, he said with steady fire, you need to restore order before chaos takes over. And just like that, the room froze. Whoopi's back went ramrod straight. She wasn't ready to hear someone defend Trump's actions, not under her spotlight. But Arnold didn't flinch. He pushed even harder. Everyone watching could feel it. This wasn't a sit-down chat anymore. This was an all-out confrontation. And the view was the one under siege. Arnold wasn't shaken. He fed off the pressure. He locked eyes with Whoopi and delivered a line that hit like a hammer. Leadership means unity, not division, he said with unshakable calm. And suddenly, Whoopi's smirk was gone. Arnold wasn't there to toss soft takes. He came with years of leadership, crisis control, and hard-earned wisdom that most of the panel had never touched. When asked what he'd do if he were governor again, Arnold didn't blink. I'd work with everyone, local leaders, federal forces, and police, to clean up the chaos, not add to it, he declared. That jab flew straight at Gavin Newsom's record, and everyone caught it. The crowd's reaction rippled like thunder through the studio. Arnold leaned in, eyes locked, voice sharp. You don't lead with slogans or protests. You lead by fixing the problems, not chasing the spotlight. The shade wasn't just obvious, it was deafening. Sonny scrambled to switch gears, throwing in legal terms and technical fluff, but Arnold wouldn't budge. He kept dragging the talk back to the gritty truth. Then he hit them with another truth bomb. When you come to this country, you're not owed anything. You earn it, he declared, every word packed with strength. Joy Bahar's face twisted in pure discomfort. That was not the kind of truth she wanted broadcast to millions.
But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can, keep things clean.
But it was already out there, echoing through the studio like a cannon blast shaking the walls. Arnold kept going strong. America gave me everything: fame, success, opportunity. I didn't ask for shortcuts. I worked hard. I respected the system, and I gave back, he said with pride blazing in his voice. The panel sat frozen in silence. There were no clever comebacks, no rehearsed one-liners, no sarcastic glances that could erase the storm Arnold had just unleashed. And he wasn't even close to finished. Arnold leaned straight into the issue of accountability, declaring that immigrants should give back, volunteer, and help build up their communities, not tear them down. He hit entitlement culture hard. If you take from this country, you must give back. That's not about politics, it's about honor. His voice rang out, filled with passion and force. Whoopi looked shaken, like she couldn't believe this was happening on her own turf. But Arnold kept swinging, each word landing with the weight of a hammer. He laid out the countless programs he's helped. Immigrants, veterans, disabled children. All proof that giving back isn't just talk, it's action. Then he flipped the script and issued a direct challenge. Ask yourselves, what are you doing to make this country better? Complaining isn't contribution. The silence that followed? Deafening. Sonny jumped in, trying to steer things back with, most immigrants just want a better life. But Arnold didn't hesitate for a second. They should follow the rules then, because if you break the law the moment you enter, how can you demand to stay? He shot back, eyes locked on hers like lasers. Nobody could argue with that. Not even Joy, who usually has a comeback for everything. Her silence spoke volumes. And then, boom! Arnold dropped the firebomb. You invite me here to talk, but only if I say what you want to hear. His voice sliced through the studio like a sword. The audience gasped. Some even burst into applause. He wasn't just revealing their bias, he was smashing it in real time on live TV.
And to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back.
Arnold wasn't done, not even close. His voice only grew more fiery as he turned to the live audience and declared, "This country deserves better than fake outrage and political games." His words exploded through the air. It landed like a slap across the table. And the camera didn't miss Whoopi's shocked expression as the truth hit her square in the face. Then Arnold said what most guests would never dare utter. "You preach tolerance until someone disagrees with you. Then it's an ambush," he announced, each word laced with power. The View's polished set suddenly felt like a battlefield, and Arnold stood alone, unshaken and unafraid in the middle of the storm. Joy leaned in, ready to interrupt, but Arnold calmly raised his hand and said, "Let me finish. This isn't a soundbite. This is real." And the room froze once again. He spoke with urgency about the danger of creating a culture where disagreement leads to labeling and attacks. "That's not discussion. That's dictatorship in disguise," he fired off with conviction. You could almost feel the panel squirm. This wasn't their usual playbook, and Arnold was flipping every page in real time. Arnold didn't need a cue card. His words came from lived experience. He reminded everyone that America's power lies in open debate and bold honesty, not in shaming people into silence. Sonny jumped in, trying once more to shift the narrative by bringing up race. But Arnold held the line. "This is not about race. It's about respect for this country, no matter where you come from," he snapped with clarity. He made one thing crystal clear. He wasn't attacking immigrants. He was an immigrant, but he was done ignoring the double standards and silence around breaking the law. "Do it the right way," he said boldly. "You'll never regret following the rules, only breaking them." That statement hit with force and stuck like glue in the minds of the audience. Then came the bombshell that caught even the crew off guard. Arnold said sharply, "You all cheer when someone criticizes the right, but you panic when someone calls out the left." It was like he held up a mirror and pointed it straight at Whoopi, Joy, and Sonny.
Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that.
Well, don't forget, there's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And it's and a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California.
And they couldn't escape the reflection staring right back at them. Arnold didn't hold back. He called out the show for pushing an agenda instead of encouraging real talk. "If you only invite people to talk just to silence them, that's not journalism. It's propaganda," he declared with thunder in his voice. The crowd roared louder this time. Some clapped with excitement, others stared, frozen, as the moment turned into something bigger than daytime drama. It became live, unscripted political theater. Then Arnold turned straight to Whoopi and challenged her like no one ever had before. "You've had decades of influence. What are you doing with it? Are you helping people think, or just telling them what to think?" he asked with piercing honesty. Whoopi had nothing to say. For a second, everything went silent. Arnold had taken full control, and the panel had no fight left. He wasn't being cruel, He was being real, and that's what made every word hit even harder. His steady tone made the truth sting sharper. Arnold wasn't parroting opinions. He was speaking from raw, lived truth, and that made every sentence more powerful than any pre-written soundbite. Then came his final statement, a challenge not just to the hosts, but to everyone watching. You've heard their side, now think for yourselves. He boomed. The studio shook with that final blow. The segment didn't end quietly. It exploded across the internet within minutes. But Arnold? He simply stood, gave a respectful nod, and walked off that set, his message still echoing in the air. Behind the scenes, the producers panicked, scrambling to get control of the show, but it was far too late. The internet had already erupted. Social media blew up instantly. Some were calling it the truth grenade The View never saw coming. Others couldn't believe anyone had the courage to speak that boldly on national TV. People weren't just watching. They were rewatching, quoting and sharing every jaw-dropping moment.
If you were governor right now of California, how would you be handling the ongoing crisis that the state's facing?
Well, I think the most important thing is when you are in a leadership position like that, is that you are inclusive and that you work together with everybody. And so it means that you have to work together with local government, the state government, and the federal government. They have to work together rather than fighting each other. Fighting each other's agendas and all of that stuff. That doesn't do good to anybody.
Arnold's words didn't just make noise. They turned into rallying cries for everyone sick of hearing the same old script. And while The View scrambled to downplay the fallout, audiences weren't fooled for a second. The damage was done, and there was no walking it back. Arnold had completely shifted the conversation around immigration, the law, and what it really means to be an American. He exposed the truth with zero hesitation. He ripped apart the carefully staged outrage and the polished victimhood narratives the show had leaned on for years. This wasn't about picking sides. It was about truth versus spin. And Arnold made it clear as day. He chooses truth every single time. Whoopi, Joy, and Sonny tried to smile through the storm, but you could see it in their eyes. They weren't used to being challenged, and definitely not like this. And Arnold didn't have to shout or sling insults to make it count. He came with lived experience, hard truth, and common sense that left no room for debate. When the segment wrapped, Arnold didn't wait for applause. He wasn't chasing attention. He walked off proud, knowing he delivered the message he came for. In just a few minutes, he exposed what most celebrities are too scared to touch: media, double standards, fake outrage, and emotional manipulation of viewers. They tried to twist his words. They tried to trap him. But Arnold never flinched. Not once. He stood tall, and that's exactly what made him unstoppable.
The National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance, when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi war, I was not the one that said, oh yeah, go to Iraq. The Bush administration came and said, we need those people.
They came
and
to you.
They came to us, and we need the resources, we need the equipment, we need the weapons, we need the vehicles to ship to Iraq, and then they ship
It's the
to
coordination.
Iraq. So
It's the
that's why I
coordination.
say it is very important that we work together.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who is asking whom. The bottom line is we work together in order to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And the public? They saw everything, uncut and crystal clear. Viewers who'd long been fed up with Hollywood elites playing it safe finally witnessed someone speak boldly, with heart, strength, and pure clarity. Even the critics had to swallow their pride. This was one of the most unforgettable interviews to ever hit daytime television. Moments like that don't just fade away. Behind the scenes, whispers started flying. Insiders were already saying the producers might think twice before bringing on another guest like Arnold. And that just proved his entire point. They don't want real conversations. They want people who nod and agree. But Arnold wasn't there to be anyone's puppet. He came in as a guest, but left as a truth-teller, a wrecking ball, and a living reminder of what unshakable conviction looks like on national TV. The View may have tried to steer the story their way, but Arnold didn't just interrupt the script. He rewrote it, live, in front of millions. He didn't just shake the table, he turned it upside down and made everyone take a hard look at what was hiding underneath. In the end, Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just call out Whoopi, Joy, or Sonny, he pulled back the curtain on the entire act. And once the truth is out, there's no covering it up again.